Hi, this is the next episode of the series. This should be a lot more interesting. It's about my tactics. This should be more fun than the last one. Just beat Wigan 4-0 with Rooney scoring 4, so I figured this was a good time to make it and explain what's so good about it since it's been going well recently. I've been scoring a lot and conceding few, so I can talk a bit more honestly about it. It's a 4-1-2-3 broadly, I suppose, but it's more of a 4-6-0 if you're using these as 6. There's no striker, which is probably the most obvious thing about it. That's a decision I made early in the season because I felt I didn't have much option with one striker up front. When you play like that, you have to have a very good striker, and when Rooney wasn't there, we looked a bit one-dimensional. So I brought it back to a 4-6-0. That way I can play centre attacking mids there. Cleverly I can play there, and he'll do a decent job when Rooney's injured or suspended or whatever. It's a lot more flexible. I'll briefly go through these options and say why I've picked the ones I have, and then look a bit more in depth. I made this tactic in halfway through the second season, I think it was, or maybe at the start. I wanted to have a one-touch passing tactic, something I'd never done, and it seemed like fun. I had a good few players who could play it, so I went for fluid to start with because I just prefer that personally. Didn't really have much logic to it, I just prefer to play fluid. It doesn't feel right if I'm playing with Man United and I'm playing rigidly. That just feels counterproductive to me, so that's why I went with that. There's nothing really intelligent or complicated about that. Attacking, this is something people might be surprised by. Originally I went for counter because I wanted to keep the ball. I wanted the one-touch passes to be safe and to keep the ball. Play a bit like Barca actually, but I figured I didn't really like that as I watched the game. Found players just playing it backwards for the sake of it. They weren't willing to play a ball when it was obvious, and that annoyed me a little bit. I'm all for safe passing, but if you're missing options when they're there, then that can be really, really annoying. So I slowly ramped it up until I found that attacking really was the good one. It's quite high mentality. You do see the ball wasted every now and again, but it's worth it for some of the moves they put together. It means people just look forward for a good pass rather than backwards, and that's my style of play. Shorter is an obvious choice. You don't want to be playing one-touch diagonal balls across the pitch. Shorter just means they'll take a safer pass without sacrificing the good runs of Rooney and the wingers. Creative feed on my left to default. I don't think I still have players who are capable of being allowed to run free. I've adjusted it manually to suit. There's only a couple of players on my team who can really be allowed high mentality and high creative freedom, and probably Rooney, Nani. Maybe some of the playmakers can. But apart from that, I've realised when I looked at this screen and seen how the creativity and flair matched up to the creative freedom that it really wasn't working. That's probably a reason for a lot of wasted passes, trying to do things out of the comfort zone. Example, I've lowered Evans's here because I tend to play my weaker centre back there. By weaker I mean the less creative one, the less comfortable on the ball. Smalling has a bit more longer fullback, so you'd expect to have good creativity. I look for creative fullbacks because that's always handy to have. And then it just slowly increases as you go up the team. The centre mid with attack has got pretty much the same as the attacking midfielders. I've lowered it for Rooney here because he's my main goal scorer. I don't want him to start flinging balls around or spraying it around. I just want him to get forward and score. I don't want him to do anything a bit out of the ordinary. He's good at that. He's very creative as well. This is why it's not at the bottom of the scale, it's not in the middle. He's still got pretty good creative freedom, but he's still pretty one-track mind, which is what I want. Back to this. Closing down default, just middle of the road kind of thing. I'm not a big fan of pressing, I'm not a big fan of standing off, so it seemed to make sense. Attacking incorporates quite a high closing down game anyway, so it seemed like I didn't need to push that further anymore. Look, it's still quite high, apart from the centre backs. I don't want them rushing out and getting caught because they're not fast enough to do that. Tackling default, but with attacking you get quite a high tackling anyway. Look, most of my midfielders have it. Yeah, nothing really interesting there. Zonal marking is, I don't know, I just feel it's a lot safer when you play this kind of formation. Man marking is usually used for when you come up against a formation that's the same, so everyone's got a direct partner, like a 4-4-2 against a 4-4-2. The left mid has right back to mark, and so on and so on. So zonal makes sense when I'm playing a bit of a unconventional formation. I can't be marking man for man on this, because most of the time these players won't have a man to mark, and that's just pointless, isn't it? Crossing default, I don't like a lot of crossing, so that seems to make sense. Roaming, more roaming, that's obvious. I want my front men to move around. I like my wingers to move around, so these three men are very much interchangeable. They interact together. I don't know if anyone else has got roaming actually now. Should check this. Yeah, the centre attack, I keep trying to call that centre attacking mid. The centre mid attack has as well. He's more of my, just like to bring the balance more to a 5-5. Because if he wasn't roaming, it'd just be three men attacking, pretty much. Attacking in that way anyway. So it's good to have, like, he roam forward, get forward up here, around here, while Fletcher and Jones just stay back. That makes sense, doesn't it, I think. And then I've just made some manual adjustments. Tempo to quick. I want the short passes to be snappy. I don't want them to run with the ball, I just want them to play off as quick as they can. Because we have got the best players in the league. Well, not the best players in the league. Man City might have something to say about that, but they should be able to play around the likes of Bolton and play teams like that. And the quicker we do, the quicker we can get into them. There's no point playing slow when they're just sitting in the box. You're not going to confuse them with slow passing unless they've got low concentration, so quick just seems to make sense to me. Therefore time wasting should be lower, because you don't want them to dwell on the ball. That's pretty obvious. Focus passing mix, I didn't want to change that. I've got options everywhere, I don't need to be one dimensional. And then I've changed it to the counter attack, because I felt like with the speed of my play and the style of play, short passing, quick passing, very, very fast tempo, that just goes to counter attack. Maybe not the passing, but it's not that short. I've manually adjusted it a little bit to be a bit more direct than short. Like I've put about 4 notches ahead of short, so it is very based on counter in football. We can get forward quickly and we can play them little short snappy passes and get through the opposition, and to achieve the one touch football a bit more, I lowered run with the ball to rarely for most of the players, apart from a few. Raphael is sometimes, because I want him to run with the ball down this side. There's no one really he can play it to, so I'll just happily just let him run down the wing. He can carry that for me, because I've got my ball in the midfield there, who's a decent player. Fletcher's alright, but I don't really want him to be carrying the ball from me. I'd rather just let Raphael. He's quite gifted, so it's much better to do that. And then Rooney, I want to get the ball and run over the defence, run ahead of them, behind them, round them. I don't care how, but he's my best player, so it would make sense to let him just drive the defences. He hasn't got great dribbling, but he's got power, he's got strength, teamwork, work rate. He can pass it off. He's brave. He'll get stuck into challenges, and that'll scare a few defenders off. And then the wingers should naturally have a bit of freedom to run. That's what I've got sometimes. I don't want them to run too much, because they'll, as the nature of a winger is, I'll just keep running for as long as I can. Nanny. So that's why I did that. Long shots, rarely for long. Drive through balls. I left this pretty much the same, but I think I lowered Rooney's, because I don't want him to be playing through balls. I want him to get the ball himself and have the ball. I'm a fan of plenty of through balls. I should probably lower Spallings, because he's not a brilliant ball playing defender, but Yeah, I want people to play through balls to my faster players in the attacking mid positions. The key idea of this tactic is to keep the ball fast and to get it to Rooney. Look how well he suits that role. He's just amazing. He's good on the ball, good off the ball, good at everything. So I gave him decent creative freedom, as I've already covered. Roaming from positioning is essential to allow him to drive into that area there. He's my main attacking threat. That's signalled by his 8 goals in the last 2 games. This is just standard. I want him to close down. He's very good off the ball, closing down, defending. Passing style is mixed. That means if it's dead in the centre, that's how it's set for playmakers. He can pick whatever pass he wants, pretty much. That's just like a choose it yourself. And he's got 15 decisions and just a brilliant repertoire, so I'll let him do that. He can choose the pass. I'm not going to stop meddling with Rooney's mind. Run from deep often, essential again. I want him to drive into that gap. I want him to get into the space there. I could have done this by playing him up front, but I prefer to play him deep, because then he's in touch with the ball and he can pick up the ball early and run with it. And he's going to draw out defenders for these wingers to come into, and Bertolacci as well. He's going to be driving forward from the midfield, so just by coming deep and then going forward rather than staying forward and then coming deep, that's improving his attacking threat. And that's pretty obvious. Drawing the defence out and then just breaking into that space. We've got fast players, we can do that. Rest is just pretty obvious. Didn't want him to go wide to cross the ball. Wide play, you might expect me to go for within his channels, but I'm happy for him to go dead centre and just drive between the 2 centre backs. You might notice that why haven't I played one of the De Silva twins with attack duty, because he's a good attacker. Fabio's I've just been getting 20 million offers for him recently. It's good going forward, and the answer to that is just balance. You see everywhere there's not he's asymmetrical roles. It's not like a dead split down the middle. Here I've got my fastest centre back on the side of the full back who's going to be going forward, so I want him to be able to cover for Raphael. That's a synergy there. The side I've got my attacking full back, I've got my most defensive centre mid in Fletcher. The most defensive full back is on the side of the most attacking most attacking midfielder, and this is the side that has the least attacking winger. Yeah, I got that in the end. So everything is, where there's an attacking player, there's a defensive player that's ready to cover, and Jones just will shuttle across here, covering for everyone, pretty much. That's it